Rav Moshe Feinstein and Shlomo Zalman. He says the following. Shema Shvai Kechatai brings this. Kol davar she'en ba'asiyato mishum tircha וגם רגילים לעשותו מבלי לחשוב על התועלת שבעשייתו, מותר לעשותו בשבת. גם אם תצא מעשייתו זאת, תועלת לימות החול. ובלבד שלא יאמר במפורש שהוא מכין לימות החול. I was very excited and very happy when I found this because this was my impression from the Rishonim all along. The Rishonim did not use the words Hachana mikodesh lechol. They used the words Tirchat Shabbat, Tirchat Chol b'Shabbat. Right? Now, when you remind ourselves of the Gemara, I keep on quoting this Gemara over and over again because I think this is the foundational Gemara for this definition, for this Rav Shlomo Zalman, Rav Shlomo Zalman definition. When the Gemara says over here, you're allowed to walk to the edge of your field, you're allowed to walk to the edge of the town, as long as it's not evident that you're doing that for Malacha. So says Rav Shlomo Zalman, why is that allowed? The answer is because walking is not a tircha. Walking is walking. Now, if it's evident that you're doing it for Malacha, that's one thing. But if you're walking and it also saves time, let's say Shabbat, that's okay. The issue is the tircha, that's specifically tircha for after Shabbat. There's no Isser to save time on Motzei Shabbat, on Shabbat. There's no Isser like that. The Isser is to do something that's evident that you're saving the time, that you're doing it in order to save the time. If the outcome is one that helps you, that's fine, as long as it's not evident that you're doing it in order to save that time. Now, Rav Moshe is more stringent. Moshe says, right, his questions, I forgot to even bring the question here. The question is, are you allowed to take your talis home after davening on Shabbos? I'd take it home because you're going to need the talis the following day, right? So Rabbi Yoel would say, well, if you need it for next Shabbos, but let's say it's the talis you wear all week, right? You want to use it the following day. You're allowed to carry the talis home. Says Rav Moshe, he starts looking for excuses. If Shalom mitzad shmirah, but what happened, right? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's unsafe. There, someone will steal it. Sure, but if your shul and your yeshuv is safe, or people they lock it. Someone else might use it. You might not be comfortable with that. There's corona. Because we assume people do agree. So it might be your makbid. So we see he's right. He's trying to find a good enough excuse to allow you to take it home. In that sense, you are allowed to carry it home only for these reasons. And he goes into this whole thing, right? Why the whole reason he's allowed, the whole reason you're allowed according to Rav Moshe, is only because you have an excuse. So this goes back to, really, it's a Shabbos need, right? I need the talis to not be used. I go to the early minyan, someone goes to the late minyan, they're going to use it. They're using it at mincha. So I'm really saving it from being used by others the rest of the day. So I'm doing it for Shabbos, right? I'm doing it so that at 4:00 in the afternoon, on Shabbos afternoon, no one's going to die. They won't take the oleh. So I get someone aliyah at mincha, and they'll take my talis chalila. So I take it home before. But all the reasons you bring, they're all excuses, right? It's not. He isn't saying you're allowed to take the talis home because why not? I just want to point out, according to the Rambam, of course, there's no problem, right? According to the Rambam, I'm not fixing anything. Carrying a talis home, I'm not fixing anything. There's no problem with that, right? But so clearly he's talking according to the Ravid, right? And he says, according to the Ravid, what you're doing is you're doing something that you don't need to do on Shabbos. So according to Rav Moshe, anything you don't need to do on Shabbos, you shouldn't do on Shabbos. Anything you don't need to do on Shabbos, you shouldn't do on Shabbos. Rav Shlomo Zalman says, why? Based on the same idea that Rav Shlomo Zalman said. Right? Let's see, he defines it more clearly in the next bit over here. כוונתי רק על כאין החזרת ספר למקומו, או אוכל המקרר. וכן דרכו לקח תמיד שעון, אף שאינו חושב שיצטרך לבוא ביום, או משקפיים לקריאה, וגם כדי לראות מרחוק, בלי לחשוב כלל שיצטרך גם לבוא ביום. הוא לובש עניבה כשהולך בין אנשים, לשפר שרי אפילו הגיע לבין אנשים כשכבר לילה. I rarely wear a tie. I try to avoid it as much as possible. I wear a suit, but I don't wear a tie. Today, there's for the Vada and the Rabbanut Rashid, I wore a tie because you have to, be more mechubad. So if I leave my house on Shabbos, I'm meeting people Mosei Shabbat, and they're going to expect me to have a tie. Now, I never wear a tie on Shabbos. I'm going to put the tie on so I can have it after Shabbat. So Shlomo Zalman, you're wearing a tie. You're wearing a tie because you wear a tie. You're wearing a tie because you wear a tie. It's like achshacha latchum. Right? I wouldn't normally wear a tie on Shabbos. It doesn't matter. In essence, what you're doing is like achshacha latchum. So it doesn't matter if all these things that you do, you put your watch on. Why are you putting your watch on? Now, really, I don't like carrying a watch on Shabbos, right? That's his example. But I'm going to want to know, the time after Shabbat, right? All these things, right? I'll bring a few more examples. But what's the idea? The idea is I'm not doing something that's a tircha, that's evident that's a tircha for something after Shabbat. I might technically be saving time, right? I want to go straight from my riv to somewhere, and I want to have a jacket with me then. It says you're allowed to carry a jacket. You're allowed to return the Sfarim on Shabbos. You don't have to leave them out. Why? Because all these things, let's see his definition. Right? He brings this idea, right? You're allowed to walk on Shabbat. This is what reminded me of Hachshachat Tchum. ממילא הוא גם כן צריך להיזהר מהצטננות. אם כן, כאשר יוצא מביתו בשבת אחר הצהריים, ולוקח עמו אפודה לובשה בערב, והוא הרי זה כמכין את עצמו, לבד לציין בלילה, ולא כמכין אפודה לחול. And this is a wonderful definition. מכיוון שאין זה הכנה להצלת ממון או תורח, רק להציל עצמו מלהצטנן, meaning, you're not doing a tircha, so he says two things here. He says two important definitions. I'll start from the second one and the first one. The second one is, you're allowed to do achshacha latchum as long as you're doing something mutar, right? Now, is carrying a jacket inherently problematic on Shabbos? The answer is no. Yeah, I'm setting aside the question of carrying. The answer is no. It's the afternoon, no one's wearing a jacket. We know you're carrying it for Motzei Shabbat. Yeah, but I'm not doing something that's inherently chol dik. And this is not a tircha. Those are the two points he makes here. If it's not a tircha, it's just something you do, it's not a problem. So you're allowed to carry your talis home from shul. Why? You don't have to. So my father is makbid to keep the talis on. And if there's a kiddush in shul, I'll keep the talis on through the kiddush, right? Through even the long kiddush and drasha and whatever, he'll leave the talis on the whole time so that he could walk home with the talis on him and bring it, and then the talis will be home at the end because of Rav Moshe. But according to Shlomo Zalman, you don't need any of that because there's no tircha involved. You're walking home because what do you do after shul? After the kiddush, whatever. So why are you carrying the talis? You don't need to go out of your way to ask the question. That's the point. I think this goes back to Tosfot's point about, is it evident that you're doing something for chol? Is it evident when a person carries the talis home on Shabbat? Only we in the Beit Midrash say, wow, that's because, why is the real reason he's taking the talis? A normal person, you say to him, why is he taking the talis home? I'll say, what do you mean? It's what you do, right? You take the talis home because, right? Same would go for clearing the table, right? Why do you clear the table at the end of the meal? Because it's what you do. You clear the table, right? Same would go. All these things, once it's just what you do, once it's not a tircha, you don't go out of your way for tircha. In a moment, once all these things you're doing for all these things, as long as you can't really identify the tircha, it's not an issue. So that seems to be the machloket, right, between the fundamental machloket between Rav Moshe. Rav Moshe is looking for excuses to take the talis home. Because any time, any way in which you save time, right? Sarah asked earlier, how much tircha is tircha, right? So according to Moshe, anything is tircha. Anything that, while you're doing it on Shabbos, you're only saving time after Shabbat, anything is tircha, right? Anything that you could be doing on Shabbat, unless you need it on Shabbat. If you need the talis at home later on, fine. If you're just walking because you walk with the talis, so again, it's not evident at all. That's also fine. According to Rav Moshe. If you need to wash the dishes, load the dishwasher, even fill up the washing machine. All these things so they won't get in your way. Those are all for Shabbat. But anything that could be pushed off for Shabbat, for after Shabbat, any work, anything, I'd say, anything that progresses your Motzei Shabbat should not be done on Shabbat according to Rav Moshe. But according to Rav Shlomo Zalman, the idea is tircha. The concept is tircha. And things that are not tircha are not a problem. And that means if you're going to put the key in your pocket, why do you leave your house why do you leave when you leave your house Shabbos afternoon? Because you know you're not going to come back for a few more hours. So you take a key with you. Because by the time you come back, the house will be locked, whatever. Is that okay? He says, yeah, again, because you're not doing something because you're taking a key along. You're not doing a tircha. You're not doing something different for that purpose. So anything that's not a tircha, according to Shlomo Zalman, is not a problem.